back and watch this. All right, we got Daniel coming in as well, and we're going to be getting started here in just a moment. So thank you all for joining. All right, well, I appreciate you all joining. Hello, Daniel. Thank you so much for joining today.
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome, doing great. I'm doing great.
I'm just looking for a little more extra context too. I just saw this on my calendar, and it's about CRM, so it's something I'm interested in right now and thinking about. So I'm not totally remembering which CRM you're talking about, or if it's just, I think it was a general approach to CRMs, right?
It is a very much a general approach to CRMs. Yeah. So I'm gonna really, with everyone who's joined here, this is everyone who's more or less RSVP'd. We have a few people that are not on camera, so we'll just leave their camera off here. And what I'd like to do though is I do want to give a quick opportunity for each of you to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about your name, your company, what CRM you may or may not be using. There have been people that have not even used CRMs that are thinking about getting into CRM. And there's also people that have really been on the advanced side of things as well. In addition to that, you feel free to give a quick 15 to 20-second commercial essentially for what it is that your company is doing. And then I'm going to get into the topic. Today's topic is beyond referrals. So what I'm going to be addressing is talking a little bit about, how can you utilize a CRM to even address that piece of going beyond referrals? All of you should have received a live CRM or the CRM naming convention sheet. So that is something that we'll go over as well. And I really want this to be a Q&A. So I'm going to give a quick overview on some different ways and some different strategies to look at this and utilize this. Again, with the focus of really around beyond referrals, and wherever you guys would like for this call to go, I love for these calls to be about instant implementable strategies. What I'd love for you to be able to do is hang up the, click the end meeting button and be able to start to implement this in some way, shape, or form. CRMs are an ongoing thing, just like your health. You don't go to the gym once and you're all of a sudden you're healthy. CRMs are the exact same way. We want to set it up and then ongoingly, what are those habits that we could start? So that being said, again, I've kind of addressed the topic. So I'd like for whoever would like to start. Jason, I know you're off screen here, or Daniel or Rick. I know, Rick, you're muted, but let's start off with you, Daniel. Would you like to introduce yourself, tell us your game, company, and CRM, and a little bit about yourself?
All right. So I'm a solo coach. I have other businesses as well. One of my businesses does have a CRM. We'll talk about that in a moment. So as a coach and sort of life strategist for people, I help people define their life vision really clearly and then create that strategy and that plan and that long-term execution. As you said, you can't just change it in one life if you have anything important to do in your life. So so that long-term strategy and plan and execution to actually achieve that vision. And that's, pretty holistic across life, but it tends to focus on leadership of yourself and of your team and of your business. If you have a business, most of my clients have a business, and your family and relationships and all that stuff. And high performance is part of that. So that includes influencing the people around you and so on. So just really high level.
Beautiful.
My CRM is actually completely manual. My personal CRM. I used to use a spreadsheet that didn't work out very well. Then I'm using Trello, which is working okay. But my business is 100% referral based, so just staying organized with my referrals and gathering testimonials and that kind of thing. I would say the Trello system is relatively new. It definitely helped, but it's still a bit clunky. But I can manage it. I think if I'm every day in there. And then my other business is I run a community for earlier stage coaches. So we have two or three of us are advanced coaches who run the community, and we for that business we actually use a CRM. Go High Level is our CRM that we use.
Go High Level, okay.
And to be honest, I'm not at that really good at that CRM part. Our marketing folks and one other person on our team is good at that. So, but I'm starting to learn about the ins and outs of Go High Level a little bit here and there. So, starting to become familiar with CRM. I totally understand the concept of a CRM, academically, and I just have not had the experience of using one that I've always tried to home grow it, and it's always a bad plan.
Yeah.
But so I've had lots of experience to do. Even
Yeah.
even Trello, I think, is going to become one of those. I've been also just generally exposing myself to some of the AI tools out there right now, that are going to do sort of outreach management and stuff like that. And I'm making that transition from referral only to referral and invitation. So
Yeah. Great.
that's
Okay.
kind of where I'm
Absolutely.
at.
Perfect. No, that's a great place to start. Thank you so much. And yes, all of these things can be done very manually. I mean, a lot of the things that I talk to my clients about, which you'll hear also, um, is just you need to do things manually first before you can really understand
Yeah,
and turn this thing
totally.
on. Like, but I use an example of before I get into all that, doing things manually helps you really get clear on what it is that you want the CRM to do. So then you could use AI tools and all of these other things,
Yeah.
but like you can just, if you're going in the wrong direction and you use AI tools to get you faster there, you're going in the wrong direction. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's really a big piece of the strategy that we're going to talk about here today. So awesome. We'll shift over to you, Jason. Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate that. Jason.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, which I guess in my business, what I do is I sell livestock feed by like semi loads, I guess.
Okay.
And oh, I guess I started using the CRM about a month ago, and
Oh, great.
I guess I honestly didn't even know what one was. And what I'm using it for is to remember to call my customers back, because most of my customers, they just kind of know to call me, and I don't even call them to get orders. They'll turn their order in once a week for the next week, or they'll tell me how many loads they want for the next month or 2 months until they cancel it. But then, oh, I was losing contact with some of my customers that didn't keep calling me, and I plugged everything in, and it kind of reminds me to keep in touch and uh yeah, not lose that relationship.
Fantastic. That's what this is really focused on. The R in CRM is customer relationship. And I think
Yeah.
what most people they almost think of it as a CAM, which is customer automation machine, is what I think a lot of people look at CRMs as. And so I love that this is helping you to stay in touch with those clients. And as a result of you being on the call today, I'm going to actually send over a spreadsheet. All of you will have an opportunity to receive a spreadsheet essentially on some ways to strategize and put and organize some of your contacts. Again, it sounds like Daniel, you're already doing that with Trello. Jason, sounds like you're just kind of in the process of this, and this is fantastic for you to get started because messy data in, messy data out, clean data in, clean data out. And so, Jason, this is a great time for you to really clean and make sure that the data you're putting in is clean with the right information and things of that nature. So that spreadsheet that you'll get as a result of being on this call, or anyone who's listening later on, they can email me, mark@enjoylifedaily.com, and I'll send that to them. So anyhow, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. So what CRM are you using?
I'm using, which David recommended it to me. Somebody, or he's never used it, but somebody that interviewed for one of his jobs told him about it. It's called Less Annoying CRM.
Less annoying. Okay. I have not
Yeah.
heard of it. So, okay.
And
Yeah.
That's
it
funny.
seems really simple to use.
Yeah.
It was HubSpot. He had me try that, and
Yep.
I was not understanding it, in all
Yeah.
honesty. And I tried
Yeah.
this Less Annoying, and it's kind of easy to
Great.
use.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. And
Can
thank you
I
for
ask one
joining.
question too, Mark? I would love to ask
Yeah.
Jason a question if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jason said he's like getting orders put in by the customers every week. I'm really wondering why he's not like made it a recurring order.
Oh, or what do you mean?
Like if they buy a subscription rather than an order, a single order, then your calls to them can be more productive to keep the relationship rather than trying to get them to put more orders in. Auto renew
Well,
whatever. I don't know if it works that way in the feed space, so you can just.
y
I'm just
yes, no,
curious.
it doesn't work
Thanks, man.
that way. It depends on how many livestock they've got, and then I guess you can think of it like your yard. When you're mowing your yard a lot, I can't sell much feed, but then whenever the winter's here and you never have to mow or anything, that's when it gets more consistent, and they'll kind of put in weekly orders.
Yeah, interesting
Okay.
questions there. I'm curious about, but yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Great. And I mean, quite frankly, this is a Q&A call. So I love the fact that, what's been happening recently has been a lot of like, hey, this is something that like Daniel could suggest to Jason, or Jason could suggest to Daniel or Rick or anything along those lines. And that's what this is about. Like, really, again, implementable things that we can all implement. So thank you. All right, we're going to shift over to Rick. Then I'm going to go quick into the topic, and then answer any other questions about the CRM. So Rick, want to give a quick overview on yourself?
Yeah,
Thanks for
I'll
joining.
try and be quick. I'm a little under the weather, so voice is bothering me. Yeah, I have some experience with CRM. Formerly director of marketing for a university, so we had a university specific CRM, and I didn't actually manage the CRM, but our marketing department wrote a lot of the materials. So we developed a massive. And now I work with a small marketing agency outside Manhattan called Quantius. We're developing our CRM within HubSpot to keep track of our leads and sales process, and try and get new clients.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, great. Yeah. And so thank you everyone for being here today. I know that there's a lot of different things that are vying for your attention, so I appreciate you all joining here. So as I mentioned, the beginning of this topic is really beyond referrals. And the idea is referrals are a great way for you to grow your business and continue to add. And it sounds like most of you on the call that have kind of gave an overview are really kind of utilizing that in terms of just repeat customers and things of that nature. And so what I was looking at, and it's really, a strategy essentially that I'm implementing here, even on this call, is I invite anyone essentially that would like to learn more about CRMs on this call, because I really feel like CRMs are agnostic, right? You can use a less annoying CRM, or you could use Go High Level or HubSpot or Monday.com or Salesforce, or all of them. And they are all, and I say this is the most general statement as if I can, umbrella statement, is they all do the same thing, right? I mean, they have different buttons, they do different things. There's more automations, I mean, more sophisticated. Salesforce is absolutely hyper sophisticated. And there's also some others that are a lot more simple. And so the idea is, the CRM that is the best is the one that you use, and the one that is clean, and the one that's clear. And so as you're looking to grow and stay in contact, it's a matter of being able to understand, how do you navigate where different opportunities are. So I'm going to do a quick screen share, if I can, of something that I sent all of you, which is this worksheet on sales naming convention. And if you didn't get this, please let me know. My CRM should have sent this out. The only reason that you might not have got it, it could have gone to spam. But these are 5 different areas. And I would think of, like, as a high level, the first one on the top left, the source, then it goes into persona, life cycle stage, lead status, and filters. It gets a little more sophisticated as you go down, like down and then over to the right. And what I would suggest you look at in each one of these areas is, for you, if you aren't keeping track of that right now, for you to start doing that. Because as Daniel was just talking about, he's doing a lot of referrals, but he's kind of working beyond that. So if he's starting to work beyond those referrals currently, seeing what are some of the things of where new leads are coming from, right? So that way you could go and say, okay, well, this client A came in, and client A came from this particular event or this particular marketing strategy that you used. And what you could start to do is you could start to keep track of these things in these main categories. And I feel like these are some of the highest level filters and strategies that allow you the opportunity to see where the low hanging fruit is. The next one that you'll regularly hear, if this is your first time on, or as you come back, you'll hear me regularly talk about persona. And if you want to go back and watch some of the old videos, I have a lot of topics on this persona. Persona is understanding who your customer is. So Jason, as you were talking about, certain clients have certain, like field sizes and or certain amount of cattle, or so on and so forth, right? There's a lot of different, personas, if you will. So you might have, and I'm just going to overly simplify this, small, medium, and large, right? And you can call like small Sam Small, medium could be medium Mike, and large Larry, right? Or something along those lines. But then you start thinking about when you're going to reach out to large Larry, large Larry is going to place a bigger opportunity, right? And again, I'm kind of looking at those as field names, not anything other than descriptors, and I like alliteration. So I'm just kind of, again, using an example of something for you to really consider and think about, because what you start to be able to do is you start to realize, okay, well, large Larry or medium Mike might need, this type of product on a regular basis. Or to even Daniel's point from a little bit ago, medium Mike might need this opportunity every 2 months, whereas a small Sam might need it every 6 months. Now, again, I know I'm overly simplifying. I don't know your business at all, Jason, so I'm not claiming to know it and understand it at this point. What I am inviting you to do, though, is to take a look at, if you were to chunk, like a big portion of your list, now that you have a lot of them in your less annoying CRM, how can you start to peel that out and say, okay, well, I could put these people in this category. I could put these people in this category, and I could put these people in this category. And the reason you're doing that is so that you can serve them at a higher level, and that you can understand and send information or follow up with information that's going to be a lot more relevant, right?
Mark, are you talking about the clarifying the persona here still? Is that the area you're talking about?
That's what I'm talking about. Yes, the clarifying the persona. Because when you could start thinking about personas in these different categories, now you start to realize, like Rick had mentioned, he came from the education space. Well, the education space, there were certain personas of who he was addressing, who he was talking to inside of the university. And so when you can name that person, you can actually articulate and communicate with them in a much, much different way. So again, I know that might be a little bit more on the advanced side, especially, Jason, as you're getting new to this. And this is a really important piece, just as you're growing, as you're continuing to grow your business and work on making sure that you're staying and building that relationship. The more you understand who that persona is, the more articulate you can communicate with them. So I'm going to kind of just stick on those two things as I'm addressing, the beyond referrals. I am utilizing this call on a monthly basis for me to reach out into the community and say, hey, there's clients that come on, and there's also opportunities that I'm talking to. And then there's also individuals that just, hey, heard about this. They got connected, or they got a referral from someone else. I know that's Jason, how you're here, and Daniel, I know Jasmine connected us. And so like, there's all these different things, and here's some ways to utilize and follow up with those opportunities that are out there in a way that's going to really super serve them. So let me pause there for a second. I know I went into some detail here. I have a tendency to go into some really long rabbit holes, so I want to make sure that I open this up for some discussion. What questions do you have?
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We're talking about persona. I had the worksheet open on my desk here.
Yeah.
You talked about personas of different, like small, medium, large, the same thing. What if you have personas who are sort of like different categories entirely? So like, for example, I work with business owners, but I also work with executive corporate leaders. And I also would work with people in the life transition space in one of those 2 categories. So like, if you're a business owner or a corporate leader and you have a life transition going on, or you're trying to figure out the next stage, so life transition could be a subcategory of the 2 main categories. But like, I'm trying to decide, like, what should the primary avatar be ultimately in my business, and the other one will maybe get attracted, and I can serve them as well. But typically those corporate leaders who want to become business owners would be even more aligned, right? And they have life transition ahead of them. But the primary focus would be on the business owners. That's where I'm at right now, because that's where I love it. They have the most impact and results for them.
Yeah.
And so like, how do you think about the different categories versus primary, secondary, like, just as opposed to medium, small, large?
I love this question. And what I hear inside of that is you've got this persona. And what I've actually coined this phrase called the persona power of 3. And the persona power of 3, because we think of in terms of 1, 2, 3, many, right? Anything beyond 3 is a little challenging.
Yeah, totally.
So what I hear inside of this is the different, the persona power of 3 is made up of challenges, characteristics, and goals. So what I hear inside of your persona, your avatar that you're talking about, there's a lot of different ways to slice this, right? There's people, there's ICP, ideal client persona, there's or ideal client profile, there's avatar, there's persona. So you may have heard one of these terms. So
Yeah.
when I'm talking about persona, I'm talking about all of those. So what I would say for you is identifying, okay, so there's some business owners or there's some executives that are in life transition that want to own a business, right? So what I would almost look at is how do you start to segment out these high level, and maybe we'll call them high level executives, right? We could call them Erica executive. And Erica executive could have this goal of she's going through a life transition, or Eric executive is going through this life transition. So that's kind of a characteristic of who he is. And his goal or her goal is to open a business. So what I would more or less classify that as is, okay, well, you've got Erica or you got Eric that wants to open a business as a goal. Now you start speaking to that point, and then you could start talking about the different products that you could offer to that particular Eric or Erica on whatever life transition process, whether that's your group, whether that's, if they want to get into coaching and that's kind of this other opportunity for you, you could start to segment it out. So how is that helpful? Does that clarify?
So what you're really saying is like pick one, which is kind of the conclusion I've come to, which is like pick the one, and then there might be different. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe there might be different products or things that you can offer them in different ways, and there might be segments of that one thing.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, and again, here's my suggestion and recommendation is selecting one first. You could always add in others later, right? So I have one called Michael Marketer. And if you'd like, I'm happy to send it after we get off the call. I actually have on my website, I have a kindredgrowth.com/Michael-Marketer. You can actually read an email. If anyone wants to refer me to a Michael Marketer, here's the challenges that you're listening for.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about a lot with my clients right now, and I'm working to like get really clear on what that is. So maybe that'd be helpful. What's the address for that?
So I'll send it to you, but it's right now. Actually, let me throw it in the chat here. So kindredgrowth.com/Michael-Marketer. Okay, so anyone who's on here has a chance to do that. So kindredgrowth.com/Michael-Marketer. And it has just a quick overview on, hey, if you hear someone in this particular space, this is what you can be listening for. And by me writing that out, I'm very clear on it. So I know I was talking about small, medium, and large, and I was just kind of overly simplifying that a bit more. But the idea is just how do we start to understand who that client is? Now, as you get that really dialed in, I mean, I've spent the last 2 or 3 years really dialing in Michael Marketer. Like it's taken me, I had it figured out in about 3 to 6 months, but then it's just like, oh, I've learned more and I've learned more and I've learned more. And I really think about Michael in a lot of different ways, or Michelle Marketer, however you want to say it, right? Then you could always expand beyond that, but like focusing on one, then you can actually rinse and repeat it, right?
Yeah,
and use it across other personas. So getting clear on one, I know it feels limiting, but it's also empowering.
No,
because
I totally
oh my
understand
gosh.
that. I teach coaches to niche down and narrow down. So, but
yeah,
doing it for myself is actually a little more challenging.
Totally hear it. I totally hear it. Well, hey, we still have a couple minutes left. I want to make sure that if Jason and Daniel, that was a great question. Jason or Rick, do you have any other questions regarding beyond referral?
No, I don't.
Okay. Rick, I know your voice is a little.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better.
All set.
Okay, good. So yeah, I mean, the idea here is to start small, focus on one thing. You all have this naming sheet. So take a look. Are you keeping track of everyone where they're coming from a source? Do you have that persona clarified? And if you don't, again, Daniel, I think that's a great question. And I think persona work is some of the most important work that you can do, because you start to be able to segment your audience and in a way that you can say, this product is going to serve them more. This product is going to serve this audience more. this product is going to serve this other audience more. And it's not to say that it's a one and done and it's got to be this thing off the shelf. This can all be very customized, and it can still give you direction.
Yeah, you still
Right,
need the
so-
initial draft though. You need that for the first lighthouse, you know.
You need the first lighthouse. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, you know, for those of you that want to kind of have any further additional questions, I have a, what I call a sales evaluation call. I have like basically 7 steps to kind of go through. I'm happy to set up any call. Anyone who would like to join, feel free to join me on that call. You know, it's just sending me an email saying like, hey, I'd like to learn more about this. Like, can you walk through this a little bit more? Because again, I want to be able to give you something today. And then also, where are some of the gaps? You know, there's 7 things that I've really identified over the last 13 years for all the clients that I've worked with to really identify it down into that sales evaluation piece so that you can start to utilize this in all of your CRM. But that's it for today. What I'd like to do is for each of you, or for 1 or 2 of you, maybe say like, what's a takeaway? And then also, Jason, I know David connected you, or he introduced you to this call. He also suggested something around doing like an accountability piece. Like, so like, hey, what would you like to do between now and next month? Like, what of what we talked about here today, what can you work on and what can you commit to and actually do this on video or or even just on audio? You know, something that you would like to you know, commit to based off of a new insight from today. And it could be even like, oh my gosh, I'd like to even just name a persona. So that being said, I want to be mindful of the time. Who would like to share their takeaway? Daniel.
So number 1, first, thanks a lot, Mark, for making this opportunity available to everyone. And I can tell you're a good coach and facilitator already. Just your energy was great. My takeaway is number 1 is this persona that you could actually have a standard, you know, hey, this is what you sent me. I tell people, hey, just do a 3-way message with me and then I'll take it from there. But I think having like, hey, this is who it is, a document online people can go to. It's like, this is who I'm looking for. If you know, who do you know that comes to mind who would benefit from what we just did together, then I can just say like, hey, use that. Here's what you do. Here's the intro email. It's super easy. And just follow, hey, did you send the thing? Did you send the thing? So having that persona named is also pretty helpful too. And lastly, just focus on building that for one persona first, which is what I'm doing right now, but it's a good confirmation.
Yeah. I will tell you this. I heard this for years, and it probably took me 6 years to even really get it. I mean, like we hear it. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, no.
I've been working on it. Yeah.
So good. Well, good for you for doing that. All right, awesome. Jason or Rick? Again, I know Rick, you've got a little voice issue, so no worries. But anything else from you, Jason?
Oh, I guess I appreciate you kind of showing us and helping us with this stuff, and I'm still kind of learning all the ropes that goes into it because I know it's CRM's more than just reminding me to make sales calls, I guess.
Yes, there is so much robustness beyond it, and you got to start. So congratulations on starting to start.
Yeah.
And that really is a huge piece to it. And then it's a matter of, okay, now that you've got this figured out, and I really invite you to, like I said, all of you will be getting this this email here very shortly about with a spreadsheet that has kind of all these different columns. And by all means, you can adjust them, you can modify them. These are some of the main categories ones that I felt were most valuable. So go ahead and take a look at that. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and happy to set up another call or talk about that. And I do these on the first Thursday of every month, so I'll be doing it again next month. If you'd like to join me again, feel free to do that. And yeah, I appreciate all you guys for being here today.
So you do it on the first, you mean next month, and about a month from now, same time?
Exactly. Yeah. And if you want, I'll just re-invite you. And you know, if you can make it, great. If you can't, you could always just, you know.
That'd be good. In the meantime, though, I think why don't we set up a time to connect it further? You know,
cool.
about maybe there's some things that you can help me with.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Sounds great. All right, Daniel, I'll be in touch. And thank you all for being here. All right. Have a great day.
Okay. Bye.
Okay. You got it. Bye now.
Great job.
Thank you.